Welcome back into the Rounding Third podcast, episode 231. Roman Empire invades Boston. I'm Nick, and finally, hallelujah, Harrison is off the IL and back on the show. First and most importantly, bud, how are you feeling? How you doing?
I'm good, but I'm a little confused, Nick. Where am I? What is this place?
You're right. It has been a long 3 weeks of our followers just listening to me ramble for 2.5 to 3 hours. But I know they've been asking about you every week on, making sure you're all right, and they've missed you. So it's great to have you back on for sure.
Well, I can say I've been following along. I've been watching and listening to most of the pods, and you've done an incredible job in emergency relief, and chat has been amazing at kind of carrying the color commentary load that I attempt to provide.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, Captain, he's back. We don't know how long for tonight. He might need a pinch hitter about midway through the show, but he's going to try to last as long as possible.
Yeah, I
But
mean, first
uh,
start back, may need to go to the bullpen early. We'll see how it goes.
yeah, absolutely.
I'll,
So
I'll try not to get too sloppy.
yeah, it's all good. All right. So before we get going, make sure you follow and like us on Facebook. You can subscribe on YouTube. You can also follow on Instagram, Rumble, and TikTok. You can also listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. We also have our affiliate sponsors, Dick's Sporting Goods, MLB Shop, and Lids. You can find these links on the tops of all of our socials. So if you do any shopping through these companies, please do it through our links, and we get a nice little kickback with no additional cost to you. And finally, if you forgot to tell your family to get you anything on Father's Day, you can send them to our Etsy shop at Rounding Third Baseball and buy from our merch store. It'd be a great way to support us and to get some cool swag. All right, jumping in, we'll start with the Red Sox because honestly, I've talked about them pretty heavy the last couple weeks because they are an absolute dumpster fire, almost like the Braves that you're trying to defend, but the Red Sox aren't far behind them.
Yeah, I,
Um,
I think the Braves got sick the same time I did.
yeah, pretty bad. Um, what's up, Dilly? Nice to see you. But William Abreu hits the IL with a strained oblique, and here it is. This is the injury that we were expecting to happen to make way for Roman Anthony. So finally, the big three are in Boston. Christian Campbell came up at the beginning of the year. Then we have Marcelo Mayer that has come up. He hit 2 home runs last night, absolute bombs. And then Roman Anthony. His debut was 0 for 4. He hit that absolute seed right back off the pitcher, but ended up being a 1-5-3 putout. Um,
Yeah, Boz ate that ball right off his back.
yeah, and it stayed in the game. That was insane. Um, but he looked comfortable in those 4 at bats, though. I wouldn't say that he was overmatched at all in those 4 at bats, even though he's over 4.
No, and that walk that he drew, that was a late game, tough reliever, tough situation, super professional at bat.
Yeah.
Um, and the ball he hit that was 111 was a great at bat. He worked Boz a little bit deeper into the count. I mean, he is as advertised. He is way beyond his years.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Our week 1 Jeopardy champ, John Carter. Welcome back.
Yeah, congrats, John, and thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, John, that was a pretty convincing win yesterday. So everyone's asking if his internet was on steroids or something, but it was pretty crazy. Yeah, so then his first major league hit was a 2-run double down the left field line. What direction do you think the Red Sox need to go in at this point? Because I don't know. I am torn on the morale there. I love the young guys, but are we going to get anywhere? As I say, as the Red Sox organization going anywhere with a veteran presence, a particular veteran presence we have in that lineup or clubhouse, and the manager?
If I'm John Henry, I am pushing the nuclear button. Craig Breslow, thank you, goodbye. Alex Cora, thank you, goodbye. Rafi Devers, thank you, goodbye. Trevor Story, thank you, goodbye. And I am going with the youth movement, and I am just pushing the detonate button right now, and I'm beginning the rebuild. Cora is not a leader. Breslow is not an adequate GM. He built a team with no depth. You're feeling it right now. You've got Trevor Story, who's about as inconsistent as they come and can't get on the field, and you've got all this young talent waiting, and it seems stupid to keep waiting. So if I'm John Henry, it is time to blow this thing up. Jason Veritek, welcome to Boston. You're the new manager. You're going to oversee the rebuild, and I go shopping for a new GM.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't mind Story. I mean, yes, he's streaky as hell. I mean, he always has been. He always will be.
Yep.
I mean, I don't mind him. I think the team likes Trevor Story there in the clubhouse. I don't like the attitude necessarily that Rafi has projected from the start, from spring training. They're still leading the league in errors, which is 3 years running. Cora is an infield specialist, and he somehow can't get these guys to play any type of defense. I'm with you. I think I don't think it's necessarily the nuclear button, but I think moving those two pieces and rebuilding around these core three, big three, whatever you want to call them right now, is the way to go. I think resetting with Cora and Devers does a lot for this team.
Yeah, and I think you can go the nuclear option. You can go a little short of that, but if you don't make dramatic changes here quickly, you're going to have another season spiral away. You're going to go into the off season with a bunch of questions. You're going to come into spring training next year trying to answer the same questions all over again. Alex Cora has proven he won in 2018 with a stacked super team, and he's been unable to win since. And you gave him the pieces he needed, and the injuries have hurt. The roster construction was a huge screw up on Craig Breslow's part, and we said that in spring training. It's a roster with no depth.
Yeah.
And I think realistically you have to move forward. And Nico, I can totally understand the point, but Chaim Bloom is the reason you have this young treasure trove of players. He drafted all these guys. All you've gotten from Breslow is a bad Walker Buehler contract, a decent Garrett Crochet trade. But Chaim Bloom built this minor league system. You're enjoying Wilyer Abreu, Jaron Duran, Marcelo Meyer, Roman Anthony, Christian Campbell. You're enjoying Connor Wong, all those guys. You're enjoying all those guys because Chaim Bloom got them. I mean, Craig Breslow's impact on this organization in 3 seasons, 2.5 seasons, is basically zero.
Yeah, I mean, he did what the fans were kind of screaming for, though, right? He went out and made the deal for a proven arm.
Yep.
I mean, semi-proven arm with Crochet, right? He had a little bit of injuries there, but he's going to be a bona fide ace. So he's listening to the fans there. He went out and got Alex Bregman. So I mean, he was listening to the fans, I think, a little bit. And knowing that, hey, we could strike right here while the iron's hot. Now, I think it's, for me, I think it's Devers setting the tone early that kind of just put a bad taste in either their clubhouse, the fans' mouth to start the season, and it's been the tone all year. I don't know if you necessarily ship him out. It's tough to replace his offensive production because ever since his 0 for 21 start, he's been unreal. So
he has been, but I think you've proven now for 6 years that, because he's been here since Devers came up in 2017?
Yeah, I think so.
Because he's the only guy that remains from the 2018 World Series team.
Yep.
So he's been here since at least 2018. And you've had nothing but 500 seasons with him as your cornerstone. I don't love him as your franchise player. And John, I couldn't agree more. Craig Breslow traded for Garrett Crochet by dumping a bunch of top tier prospects that Chaim Bloom brought in. You're basically, it's hard to pat Craig Breslow on the back for making a trade when he basically dumped a whole stack of prospects, some high-ranking ones. Kyle Teal is potentially a superstar. I don't know. I'm still on the fence as to whether or not that Crochet trade is a good one, bad one, or a kind of down the middle one. I do think the White Sox got a boatload of talent in that trade.
Yeah, and I think Crochet is top to Cy Young. I don't think he's going to beat out Tariq Skubal because he just had another ridiculous outing today. But I mean, Crochet is a top of the rotation guy. There's no doubt about that.
He's in the top handful of pitchers in the American League, period.
Right. And the chances of the White Sox hitting on this one are great because they didn't hit on the last one with Kopech and Moncada when we traded for Sale. So the chances of them hitting on Mydroth and Teal are strong, right? But yeah, it's too early to tell. And like Sean always said when he was on the podcast, proven talent is better than prospective talent. And, you know, Crochet right now, it does look like a lopsided deal, and we'll see. Nico, this is also a good point, right? He got Bregman, he got Walker. Heimblum traded Mookie, Benintendi, and let Bogarts walk. Now, the Bogarts one was kind of funky for us because we're like, if you're going to let him walk, trade him at the deadline and at least get something for him. And he didn't. Yep. And then all that stuff with Verdugo kind of at the end of the season there, it was kind of a messy exit for Bloom. But I mean, yeah, Breslow's had a decent offseason. If Walker Buehler is better than what he has been, it could get better. It could be a better decision or look like a better decision for him, if that makes any sense. Walker hasn't pitched to his potential yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because like ownership traded Mookie because they couldn't get to the contract they wanted to. They wanted 10 years, 300. He wanted 12, 360. He got it somewhere else. Benintendi was a disaster, and letting him go was a good idea. Bogarts has way underperformed. Letting him walk was a good idea. It would have been better to trade and get something for him. But I think when you look at the Heimblum era, and you look at the young talent brought in, you know, the contract signed, there were definitely some duds in there. The Red Sox have done terrible signing free agents since 2000. They've not hit on anything.
Yeah.
But I think when you look at the state of the Red Sox right now, the majority of that roster and almost the entire minor league system was constructed by Heimblum, love it or not. And I do think that you have this massive young. So you look around that Red Sox team, and you think about who are those guys who are on the young side that could carry you forward. Well, you've got Wilyer Abreu. He's a guy you want to re-sign. Jarren Duran, Rafaela, Meyer, Anthony Campbell. You know, Casas is a question mark. Wong and why am I blanking on the other catcher? Narvaez.
Yeah.
Are both solid. Bregman was an overspend to try to fill a hole. $40 million a year for Alex Bregman was never a good deal, but you were trying to fill a hole, and that's what the rate became, and you did it. You know, the hope is that he doesn't stick around. Devers they picked the wrong guy as the franchise cornerstone. You know, Trevor Story's been kind of a hot mess. So I mean, they've done some things, but you know, Tanner Houck's been a huge disappointment this year. Brian Bayo's been inconsistent. Crochet's been a rock star. Bueller's been meh. When you pile it all up, there is a lot of misses this year. There is no depth built in behind it. And the only depth you have coming is the young guys. So it's kind of like, let's stop fooling ourselves that this roster is going to suddenly win. Let's just turn the page, give the keys to the kids. Let's go extend the guys that matter, like Duran and Abreu, and let's just get started. And clearly, Alex Cora is not the guy. He is absolutely 100% not the guy.
But I do agree with Nico's point here a little bit is like, you know, ownership loves Cora.
They do, which I'll never understand.
And he does have a long leash. And I don't know. I just don't know how many times you can have a 500 season with a roster like that and still be okay with Alex Cora. Now, you know, he is a player's manager. You know, we've said that before. But at what point does Boston be like, okay, we need to start winning again and we need to change? Like, what is that change? I don't know.
I mean, think about it this way, you know, if I'm John Henry and I just spent $200 million on this roster and I invested $100+ million this offseason to be 500 again, somebody's head's going to roll.
Right.
Somebody has to get fired.
Yeah.
Because you can't keep spending 175, 180, 200, 220, and be 500.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point, John. They overpaid Bayo way too early. I mean, I tend to agree. I think he has the potential. Brian Bayo has the potential for sure. Pedro works with him quite a bit, and we saw it in spring training. I think they're in touch like during the season as well. I think Bayo will find it. I think his problem is kind of sometimes it's upstairs, it seems to be. I mean, you watch that documentary, and he's very hard on himself. And if you have a guy that can't keep his composure during an outing, you've lost it, right? I mean, he
Well,
just can't. Like, you have a rough inning, he goes down and he starts throwing stuff around in the clubhouse and like yelling at himself. It's baseball. That's going to happen. That stuff's going to happen.
yeah, and I think that you and I were sending some messages back and forth during his last start where he threw the start against the Angels, where he threw like 2 changeups the whole game. That was his best pitch 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I think Andrew Bailey has screwed him up by trying to add pitches because now he throws a sinker. So now he's become a sinker sweeper guy, and the changeup's gone away. I think they've tried to do too much with him and change what he does best. When he came up, he was a 4-seam fastball changeup guy, and it worked.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden he's a sinker sweeper guy, and it doesn't work. The changeup's like gone. Then all of a sudden his last start, he starts throwing the changeup again, and he pitched a whole lot better. There's something wrong, either with Bayo's confidence, Bayo's comfort, the way they're calling pitches. There's something wrong with how they're using him because they don't even use his best pitch anymore.
Yeah.
And you can't survive in this league with 2 pitches as a starter. You can't be a sinker sweeper guy unless you're Paul Skeens throwing a hundo. You can't do it. And even then, Paul Skeens throws like 92 pitches.
Yeah.
They somewhere along the line, something went wrong with him and they screwed him up, or he screwed himself up. But if they can get him back to where he was, 4-seamer, changeup, and sure, throw a few sinkers and sweepers. But let's go back to your bread and butter, because it was Pedro that built that changeup with him, and now he doesn't even throw it.
Yeah. Yeah. Last time I checked, Pedro had a pretty decent changeup. Last time I checked.
I mean, it was okay if you liked back-breaking pitches.
Yeah.
But I do wonder, like, I think of the Red Sox over the last kind of season and a half. The first half of last year, their pitching was lights out. They lots of off speed, pounding the strike zone. The second half, they were terrible. They went away from that strategy. They were horrendous. And to start this year, they've gone away from that strategy again, and they're nibbling. It's a lot of fastballs. I don't know why they went away from that strategy that worked so well in the first half of last year, because guys like Houck has not recovered. Bayo has not recovered. These guys have not come back. And whatever they're doing, game plan wise, ain't working.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's time for a switch. I just don't know where that switch is. They need bullpen help. If they want to immediately,
yes.
if they immediately want to turn it around and make a run this year, they need some bullpen help tremendously. And with them, they seem to lose a game a different way each night. One night they don't hit. One night they don't pitch. One night they hit and they pitch, and then the bullpen blows it with 7 runs in the 8th. They've lost a league high 1-run games.
Are they at 17 now?
Yeah, I think 17 was the last time I checked. They've lost 8 extra inning games. I think they're 4-8 in extra inning games. It's something different each night with this team. It's tough to watch,
and I think a lot of that goes back to the manager. If you cannot win 1-run games, you've got to look at Alex Cora and be like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah. And we've talked about it as we've talked about it. He tends to stick to the same plan. So even if it doesn't work, he's still going to the same guys in the same situation. At what point do you change it up and try something new? Because that clearly is not working. But
yeah, he's very much a manager by pattern.
Yeah.
He falls into patterns.
Yeah.
Similar to what Dave Roberts used to do, similar to what Aaron Boone does at times. You give these guys these great rosters, and you've just got to put the guys in the right place.
Yeah.
And you can't do it. And the 3 years in a row being the worst defensive team in baseball is embarrassing. Like, Alex Cora should wake up in the morning embarrassed that that's the team that he manages, because that's on him.
Yeah. I'd cancel BP every day for 2 weeks and just lace ground balls at these guys.
Well,
And
did you see the video clips of them working with Roman Anthony in the outfield on day 2 of him coming up?
no, I
And
missed those.
literally, they were ripping the coaching staff because they were working on the fundamentals of fielding a ground ball in the outfield with Roman Anthony for over an hour because he couldn't get it right.
Yeah.
And they were ripping Cora, especially on the Nesson pregame, basically saying, "What happened to spring training? What's happened in the minor leagues? Why did it take you over an hour to reteach this guy how to field a ground ball in the outfield? Because at the beginning he was missing a bunch. He had his hands crossed up, his feet crossed up. He's fielding it in between his feet. I mean, these are like little league fundamentals that they're
Yeah.
going over at Fenway Park with a top prospect. That right there tells you everything you need to know.
Well, and you saw Anthony muff that first one that in his debut and go all the way to the wall. I mean, it got his first error out of the way. That's fine. But I mean, that was a pretty big miss trying to field it way off to the side like that. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's bad. It's bad.
Yeah.
And I do think the Red Sox have issues in the minor leagues because these guys, to have Roman Anthony come up and need to be retaught how to field a ground ball is concerning.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's move on from the Red Sox and talk about that Denzel Clark catch the other night. Holy cow. This is probably top 5 catches I've seen in my life. Like, this one was remarkable. I mean, we've seen some really great ones with Jim Edmonds. We've seen Ken Griffey. This one was pretty nuts. He climbs the wall, gets 4 or 5 feet above and makes the grab, brings the home run back. This kid is legit out in the outfield. If you have not seen him play defense, this kid is something special out there in Oakland.
And this catch was what, the day after he like almost took the wall down, making that other catch.
Yeah, I forgot about that one too.
When he crashed into the wall. I mean, this kid came out of nowhere. And this, I mean, I agree with you. This might be one of the 5 best catches I've ever seen. And he's got no fear. He's got no concern for his body. It's all out. And honestly, it's refreshing to watch somebody play good defense because we don't see it in Boston.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. John B says, welcome back, Harrison.
Thanks, John.
John O'Hara, that's how I knew he was meant to be on the team talking about Roman Anthony. Yeah.
Yeah,
wow,
it was fitting.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, it's on the Rushmore. Yeah, I mean, I think it is. Like, catches that stick out into my mind is the Jim Edmonds straight back layout catch. I still don't know how he made that catch. For me, that's the best catch I've ever seen in my life. Straight over his head, full layout, and somehow catches that. That's nearly impossible. The Gary Matthews Jr. when he's like spinning up the wall and somehow robs the home run like at a weird angle. That catch is ridiculous. Griffey into the wall where he breaks his wrist. That catch was pretty nuts. Those are Willie Mays, the catch.
Bo Jackson through the wall.
Yeah. I mean, all of those are insane. Those are the ones that pop out in my head. But I mean, this one,
I think was it Jim Edmonds on the hill in Houston that had made that crazy catch too around the flagpole?
Yeah. I mean, Edmonds could be in the top 5. Let's be honest. I mean,
he totally could be.
He could be the entire 5, but
he totally could be.
Yeah. For me, it's that one straight back. He's going straight back, looking up over his head and just somehow full extension. It's silly. I mean, that's the best one I've ever seen, but this one is definitely up there. Yeah. John B. Edmonds, Matthews Jr. and now this one. Listen, I'm with you. I think it could be. Yeah, Edmonds and KC takes it for me, but this was fantastic. Yeah, it was entertaining to listen to Kotze talk about the catch. Like when you are turning heads at that level, you know it was something special, right? I mean, it takes a lot. There's so much talent in the league that when you do get a chance to turn someone's head, like it's pretty special. That catch was nuts.
Yeah, I mean, and Kotze was talking about it like he was an excited kid, like he was so pumped about it.
Yeah, that was wild. But all right, Seattle Mariners scored 4 runs on 5 hits, all with 2 outs in the ninth to push the game to extra innings against the Diamondbacks. I think that was Tuesday night, I believe, or Wednesday night. I can't remember. All my nights are blurred together at this point. It was Tuesday night because we had Jeopardy last night. Dominic Canzone, former D-back, hit the 2-run bomb to tie it. Now, this is a little tough for me. So the Mariners got swept by the Orioles. They got swept by the D-backs. So this is the question I pose to you, Harrison. Are the Mariners for real, or is this a product of the D-backs bullpen blowing it this late to keep the Mariners in this game? Or both?
No, I think this is a product of the D-backs bullpen. I'm still not buying the Seattle Mariners as a legitimate contender yet. They are so dependent on Cal Raleigh. It's not even funny. I do think that pitching staff is elite. I do think that offense is better than we thought they'd be. But they still have just major gaping holes in that lineup. And if Cal Raleigh doesn't do something big, they still struggle. And they're wildly inconsistent, which I think would be frustrating for the starting pitchers. So I really want to buy the Mariners as a contender, as a better team, and I just can't get there because when I watch them, the eye test tells me that offense is still not good, and they are heavily riding Cal Raleigh's coattails. And you look at how they perform. The nights he doesn't come up with something big, they tend to not win.
Yeah.
And he is so much he's very much carrying them. And what's disappointing too is that you're not getting the same contributions out of a guy like Julio. You're not getting what you wanted out of some other key guys. I worry that Cal Raleigh hits a cold spell, and this offense is just going to stall. So I'm not there on the Mariners yet. I really want to be, but I think this is a product of the D-backs bullpen.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I watched the D-backs a lot, and it is tough. I think their pitching in general, other than Merrill Kelly. Merrill Kelly's having a pretty solid year. He's having a Merrill Kelly year. Yep. Zach Gallen leads the NL in walks last time I checked.
It's been bad.
That's not Zach Gallen that we know. Corbin Burns, Tommy John, done. I mean, it's brutal. They have AJ Puck on the IL. They just got Martinez back. I mean, and he left the game again the other night. So it's a tough run for the D-backs. I'm with you. I think this is a product of the D-backs bullpen here in this instance. But I'm with you with the Mariners. If Cal Raleigh is not on, he's not hitting 2 home runs a game, then the Mariners are out. Now, that being said, if Cal Raleigh wins the MVP this year, I think the Mariners make the playoffs. Now, they have fallen, I think, to 3rd last time I checked. I think, the Angels are now in 2nd place.
Yeah, they're a game under 500. I mean, they're tied with the Angels for 2nd now.
Yeah.
But they're a negative 14 run differential. They're 14-20 against teams better than 500. This is a team that just isn't. They're good. They're not great.
Yeah.
And I think you're gonna see this with them all season, is that they're gonna struggle against good teams. They're going to struggle against great teams. They're gonna have to find a way to win against those good teams, which has not been easy for them. And they've got to win the games they've got to win.
Yeah.
And to this point, they've not been able to consistently do that. And as much as I want to buy in, they're kind of slipping away back to where they have been.
Yeah. I mean, they're at 500. They've also had injuries in their starting rotation. If there was a year that they were going to do anything, it was last year when they only had 6 starters the entire year. It was some insanely low numbers.
Yeah, they were so healthy.
So healthy and so ridiculously good. If they were going to do anything offensively or compete anywhere to get to the playoffs, it was last year with that pitching. Injuries are going to happen, especially in today's game. It's inevitable at this point. I think the Mariners pitching could get healthy. They got guys rehabbing, almost ready to come back. They're on their way. I've been talking to John Temple about it. Our token Mariners fan all week's been messaging me about updates about guys in the minors. So I think that's a good sign for them. But you're right. They need to make a move at the deadline to get another bat to support Raleigh.
Raffy Devers.
And right. or find a way to get Julio out of this, whatever he's in. Like there's some nights he has 2 or 3 hits and then he'll go over his next 15.
Yep.
But yeah, and John,
Frustrating.
1,000%. Injuries almost have to be assumed now. And you have to start building your teams that way.
Yeah, and I was gonna say the same thing when I saw John's comment pop up is, you're not building a 26-man roster anymore. You're building like a 35-man roster. Because you need to have reinforcements in the minor leagues ready to come up. You need to have depth. You can't just build a starting 9 and be like, hey, we're good. We'll throw some scrubs on the bench and we'll be fine. That starters are going down. Everybody's got a UCL injury or needs Tommy John. You're going to keep losing players, and you can't just assume that your 26-man roster is going to cut it. You need to be a whole lot deeper than that. And that's my biggest frustration with the Red Sox. And I said it all off season is this team was always like one injury away from falling apart. And now you got 3 and you're like, oh my goodness, this team can't even function anymore.
Yeah.
And the only reinforcements you got are coming out of the minor leagues. So you have to be prepared to go much, much deeper than 26 guys.
Yep. Agree. All right. Andrew McCutchen passes Roberto Clemente on the Pirates all-time home run list with the home run number 241. Where does Andrew McCutchen stack up against Pirates legends?
I mean, first of all, salute to McCutchen, who's been a great ambassador for baseball for the Pirates organization. He's lived through a lot of crap in Pittsburgh, and has never once complained about it. He's just embraced the city and played ball. So salute to McCutchen on everything he's done. I think when all is said and done, you're going to have to look at McCutchen as one of those guys who's probably a top 5 all time. And it may not just be statistically driven. I think when you look at what he's meant to that team, what he's meant to that organization, what he's meant to that city, the impact he's had out in the community. When you think of Pittsburgh Pirates baseball, Andrew McCutchen is definitely going to be one of the top few guys you think of.
Yeah.
And all due respect to the legends of Clemente and Stargell and those guys, but McCutchen was bigger than baseball, and was a huge member of that community, a huge member of the organization. The guy even came back when you thought his career was over to try to give whatever he could as a veteran. He's taken a lesser role. He's mentored players. Setting statistics aside, his impact is greater than the stat line. And you just can't ignore that. He, for me, will always be one of the top few.
Yeah, for me, I'm around the ballpark that John O'Hara was top 3. I'm thinking Honus Wagner. I'm thinking Roberto Clemente. I think Willie Stargell. I think Andrew McCutchen. So, I mean, probably top 4. I could argue I could put him in the top 3 for sure. For me, I think it's in my order. Clemente is my favorite player of all time. What he did, all his humanitarian efforts, just like you said, that's who Roberto Clemente was. He was insane. He was just above and beyond everything. Honus Wagner during that time. I mean, none of us here saw him play, obviously, but the legends
just missed it.
Just missed it, just by a couple of years. But I think the legend of Honus Wagner is also huge in Pittsburgh. Like you ask Pittsburgh Pirates fans, who's the best Pirate of all time? 95% of them say Honus Wagner.
And rightfully so.
Up there. Yeah, absolutely. So we got some opinions here. So when I think Pirates, I think of him before Bonds. I think I said that.
Agreed, I do too.
Clemente, Stargell, Bonds, and Kutch. That's fair. Wayner's a good one. Paul Wayner.
Oh, good point.
Wagner,
yeah.
Clemente, Stargell, Bonds, then Kutch. Okay. And your captain's adding Wagner in there. John O'Hara forgot about Wagner. That's a good call.
I think when you look at chat, he's anywhere from kind of 3 to 6.
Yeah, and I'd be okay with that.
I think that's fair. I think he's top 5. You can slot him anywhere from 3 to 5. I don't care. I don't think he's 1 or 2. I think Wagner and Clemente have those spots, but I do think that for Kutch, it's more than just stats. It's also what he's done.
Yeah.
And I would argue that, Wagner was a ball player, different time. He was performing a job. He wasn't in the community doing what McCutchen did. He wasn't grooming players. McCutchen has a much different role than those other guys had.
Yeah. I'll never forget Honus Wagner again because we talked, this was like
Yeah.
3 or 4 months ago during the offseason. MLB released like what they thought was the best player in every franchise, or the second best player in every franchise. That's what it was. And they put Roberto Clemente on the list and I lost it. I go, who the heck is number one in the Pirates organization if it's not Roberto Clemente? I had completely spaced off Honus Wagner. So just like kind of everybody in the chat, just completely spaced it off. And then when it came back in the chat, like everybody, I think we posted it as a reel and everybody was commenting on it. And they were like, Honus Wagner, you dumbass. And I'm like, oh yeah. Yep. Okay. I'll wear that one. Yep. My bad. But
It's
I mean, I still don't agree with it, but
no, but
yeah,
it's so hard to rank the guys from a friggin' 100 years ago.
right.
It's
Agree.
it's just I have a tough time slotting those guys in and even thinking about them sometimes because the game was so different.
Yeah.
Yeah, and John, that to me is really kind of the heart of McCutchen. He went back when his career looked like it was over to do whatever he could, took a reduced role, mentored players because he knew they needed him. And I don't know that a lot of players would have done that. I think a lot of them would have said, well, if I can get more money somewhere else, I'll go there. Or I don't want to go back to that dumpster fire. I'll just retire.
Yeah. I mean, he did bounce around a little bit, right? And it just never seemed like he could find his footing. Maybe Pittsburgh was just where he was meant to be to feel
Yeah,
comfortable.
it just worked.
Yep.
It's,
Exactly.
as much crap as he's been through, I just think that was his place.
Yep. Agree. All right. Byron Buxton. We don't get to talk about this guy much because, well, he doesn't play much. But here we go.
I'm honest. I'm honestly surprised when I see his name in the box score because I just assume he doesn't play.
Right. He hit an absolute tank at 479 feet on Wednesday. I don't know if you saw this, but it was like upper deck center field at Target Field.
It
I
was
mean,
annihilated.
the camera couldn't even follow it.
Yeah.
So we do talk about this quite a bit, but I do want to bring it back up. But just for current players, other than DeGrom, is he the biggest what if in the majors right now? Or
For
does Trout still kind of
and
be a step ahead?
that's where I get stuck because I feel like Trout is still the biggest what if. However, we've seen a lot of Trout. We've never really seen much of Buxton. So yeah, I mean I think Buxton probably is the second one because we've gotten a lot of games out of Trout. We've gotten a lot of seasons out of Trout. He's been around a long time. I don't think have we gotten a full season out of Buxton ever? I just like I feel like Buxton's never really gotten started.
Yeah, I mean, maybe one quote unquote full season. Let's see. His highest games played. Oh God, a 140 in 2017. So I mean, yeah, I'd call that a full season. And then we go 28 and 18, 87 and 19. 2020 doesn't count. 61 and 21, 92 and 22, 85 and 23, 102 last year, and 51 this year. That is brutal.
Yeah, so that's how many seasons and how many games?
He came up in 2015 and he's played 823 games. So
Yeah,
in a 10-year career, he's averaging I don't know. Math is hard for me. 82.3 games a season. Does that math work?
roughly. And then with
That's
Trout,
it's less than that. It's 11 years. So it's less than that.
oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, and then with Trout, you've had 15 seasons, almost 1,600 games. You've seen him win 3 MVPs, 3 runner-ups, a Rookie of the Year. So I mean, you've gotten a much more substantial sample set out of Trout, roughly 100 games, a little over 100 games a year. So I think when you kind of weigh it all out, Buxton's probably the bigger what if because he's just never gotten going.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this is a great one too. Daniel Bard, if you never got the yips, he came up with the Sox and he was lights out and then just lost it. The yips is legit, but
yeah, I mean another guy that falls in that bucket is Rick Ankiel.
Yep.
Another guy that came up with tons of hype and promise and couldn't do it.
Yeah. And this is what we mean by what if, John. It's like his 162 averages are decent, but when he's right, he's elite. And
Yep.
I say it all the time. He could be a perennial 40-40 guy earlier in his career, but just could not stay on the field. He was fast. He could hit for power. I mean, hit missiles all over the field. Just can't stay healthy. But
Yeah, he would terrorize the other team. So I mean, I think when you look at it, you've gotten a good sample set with Trout. You've just really never gotten to see what Buxton's truly capable of. So Buxton might be that
yeah,
next biggest what if.
yeah, I'm with you. All right, Shohei Ohtani expected to return to the Dodgers rotation in July. In what capacity do we actually see Ohtani? Is he a starter? Will they move him to the bullpen eventually? Will he start every seventh day? Will they skip every other start? How do you see the Dodgers using Ohtani?
I mean, my answer to this question would have been different probably a month ago. A month ago, I would have thought you'd slot him in there maybe every 6 or 7 days. He becomes kind of a bonus starter. But I think right now, given the state of the Dodgers starting
Rotation.
rotation, with all, I mean, you just had Gonsolin go down again. I think he's going to have to be a starter and pitch every 5 days. I don't know how you avoid that. And I'm with John. I think he should be he should be coming out of the bullpen as a closer, keep his workload down, because he's worth more, I think, as a DH than he really is as a pitcher. But I think given the state of the Dodgers right now, he's going to have to pitch every 5 days because out of necessity more than anything.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I he's had 2 elbow surgeries, right? One's a Tommy John, the other one was not Tommy John.
Is
But
that the internal brace or is it whatever it
yeah,
was?
I guess. But I would, if you want to use Ohtani at his full capacity without, I mean, there's always going to be a risk for injury, let's be honest. But if you can take the wear and tear off him and still use his talent in a good way to help your team on the mound, it's to bring him in the ninth. Heck, maybe in a high leverage situation, you just bring him in off the bench, you lose the DH, and he just, blows guys away in a high leverage situation. I know he probably wants to be a starter. He always has been. So I don't know how he would look in the bullpen. But the Dodgers are definitely going to use him in the rotation. They don't have anybody there that can stay healthy. So
No, and I think what you've learned with Shohei Ohtani is that there's only so many bullets in that gun, and that elbow is gonna go down again, and it might be 2 years from now, 3 years from now, but there's no coming back from a third Tommy John or elbow surgery. So if you've got limited bullets, how to use them the best? I think you use them the best out of the bullpen. I don't think having him go out and try to pitch 5, 6, 7 innings every 5 days is the best use of what's left in his arm, or the best use of him as a DH. Because quite honestly, he's more valuable to you in that lineup than he is as a pitcher.
yeah, I fully agree. Close games would also be badass. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, yeah, how cool would it be to have him all of a sudden come? He runs into the bullpen in the top of the ninth and warms up, and comes out in the bottom of the ninth as the new pitcher. You drop the DH. They either win the game or go to extra innings. Either way, he stays in the game. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer, and it's a great way to preserve his arm.
Yeah, yeah, and you got to you can't afford to put him on the mound and for him to be hurt and then not be able to even hit like that. That's the risk that you're putting forth if you put him on the mound for an extended amount of innings and pitches. I mean, I'm sure he's going to have a tight pitch count. I'm talking like mid count. If you reach 45 pitches, dude, we're yanking you, which what they should do, the first few outings. He has been taking a while to come back. We heard at the beginning of the season, it was May he was going to come back. Then it was pushed to June. Now it's pushed to July. So maybe they are taking the correct precautions. But for me, I'm with the chat. I'm with you. I think his best fit for him health-wise is the bullpen. Whether that happens or not, I doubt it. But
Yep.
yeah,
He has proven that his arm will not hold up for long. So do whatever you can to get the most out of it that you can.
yep, absolutely agree. All right. Kodai Senga hits the IL with a hamstring strain, but have the Mets built a big enough lead for this injury not to hurt?
I mean, my answer to that feels like it should be no. But the Phillies themselves are kind of a mess in general. The Nationals are clearly not ready to compete. The Braves have collapsed, and the Marlins are never there. I mean, I feel like the NL East went from what we thought was going to be a juggernaut to kind of a joke. And the Mets are just kind of walking through it. So I think they're going to be fine, and unless this ends up being hamstrings are a funny thing. It could be 10 days, could be 15, could be 30, could be 45. I think it's all going to depend on how long he's really out for. But if you're talking a couple of weeks, I think they're fine.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm with you with everything you said about the NL East. Um, I said something about the Braves at the beginning of the season that I like took back, but now I'm also like reinstating as like I don't think the Braves have it. I think they're too far gone at this point. Um, it looked like they were turning it around, and then all of a sudden they just completely lost it. I think the Mets are running away with it right now. The Phillies were what 2-8 in their no, they were 1-9 in their last 10. The Braves were 2-8 in their last 10. NL East kind of falling apart. I don't think this derails the Mets at all. I think they're going to be fine. Mr. Clam says the answer is no. The Phillies are still a good ball team, and I'll never count the Atlanta Braves out until they're getting water. I mean, that's fair. I mean, really is fair. The Braves have so much talent. Acuna's on a tear, but the Braves are stinking. So I don't know what's going on there. We've kind of talked about it before you went on the IL yourself, was Snicker. Like, do they need a manager change there?
Yeah,
Possibly.
something's not right in Atlanta. And I'm still with Mr. Claims. I've not given up on the Braves. I'm definitely concerned with what's happened the last few weeks. They just seem like a team that's lost.
Yeah.
And it's Acuna's great for a few days, and then it's Matt Olson, and then it's somebody else. But like they can't all get together.
Yeah.
The pitching's been wildly inconsistent. Strider's been highly ineffective. I feel like the Braves are gonna catch their stride and play better. I think the Phillies are definitely better than they've shown. Jesus Luzardo kind of imploding was a bit of a surprise. But again, another team that offensively has been wildly inconsistent. I do think the Phillies are going to be there right with the Mets, and I wouldn't be shocked if the Phillies win the division because I'm still not buying that the Mets are this good. But at the same time, you can't argue the fact that they've gotten like otherworldly performances from Senga and these starting pitchers we've never heard of. But I'm not ready to believe that starting staff gets them all the way through to September.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think they have outperformed their starting pitching. We said that was the biggest question mark going into the season for the Mets was could their who's going to be their starting pitching other than Kodai Senga? With Manaea out, you didn't know what you were going to get out of Clay Holmes. He's done pretty well for them. Griffin Canning's held his own. You got David Peterson. Like they're all pitching pretty well for them. And
Yep.
they're winning ball games. But whether that keeps up, not sure. Still too early.
And just kind of the eye test and the sniff test for me is the Mets currently sit with the best record in baseball, but
Yeah.
to me, it's clearly not the best team in baseball.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Detroit Tigers are right now.
Yeah, and they're right behind. They're half game behind them.
Yeah, agree. All right. So I'm going to ask you this then. Which second place team has the best chance to take the lead and stay there? They win the division.
I think there's only one team on that list that's got a shot. It's the Phillies. I don't. I don't think anybody's catching the Tigers. So good luck to the Twins. The Angels, the Astros have been incredibly good the last few weeks. I don't think the Angels can catch them. The Yankees are clearly the class of the AL East. I don't think Toronto's got a shot.
Although they've been scorching hot lately too.
They have been, and they're finally hitting. They're finally hitting for power. Like it's all of a sudden like they woke up. But I definitely think the only team out of that group is the Phillies.
Yeah, I'm with you. But the Angels are making some moves. They're not standing around here.
No,
They picked up Lamont Wade Jr. from the Giants after the Giants released him. They just called up their top prospect, Christian Moore, who they drafted 8th overall in last year's draft. So the Angels aren't messing around. And again, like I've been, by the time we get done with the podcast and stuff like that, I'm catching the West Coast games, and I've been watching the A's and I've been watching the Angels because, I don't need to watch the Dodgers. I know the outcome of that game. But they're an interesting team. Joe Adele has been on fire for them. He's hitting the ball out of the ballpark. The Angel and Jose Soriano's a decent starter for them. He's been pretty solid for them all year. The Angels are interesting to me. Do I think they leapfrog the Astros? No. As we say every year, it's the Astros division until someone can knock them off. I don't think the Angels get there, but they're interesting. And they're not sitting around and playing. Like they're trying to make moves to make themselves better. And I like that. I can respect that a lot. And Captain, this is fair. I think this is kind of the road I was going on. We said at the beginning of the year, the AL West was an absolute coin flip. I literally picked the order of the AL West out of a hat for my preseason picks because I had no clue. I had no insight. There were so many question marks around it. The Mariners, the hitting, Rangers, injuries, Athletics. They're the Athletics. The Angels, at the time, we didn't know they made offseason moves, but like, what did they do? Were the Astros selling? Were they buying? Were they selling? Were they buying? There was just so many questions throughout that entire division that I literally picked my picks out of a hat because I couldn't decide. But yeah, and John, this is fair too. I think I'm with Harrison here. I think the Phillies have the best shot to overtake a division leader now and keep it and win it. Giants are a game back, I think, from the Dodgers last time I checked, right? Dodgers, they're tied with the Padres.
So, yeah, but Chapman just got hurt, I believe, which is going to hurt them.
Mm.
I think the Giants, the Giants are definitely, I think, better than expected.
Yep.
The Padres are in a bit of a rut, but they'll come out of that. The Diamondbacks, I feel like, are the National League Red Sox.
1,000%. It's brutal.
And I feel like that. I feel like we looked at the NL West being this juggernaut race between the Dodgers, Padres, and Diamondbacks, and it could be a juggernaut race between the Dodgers, Giants, and Padres. The Dodgers have their own problems. They've been 5-5 in their last 10. Their run differentials come way down. The Dodgers are now only 21-18 against teams better than 500. They're struggling to beat good teams.
Yeah.
They have their own problems. So, do I think the Giants have a shot? Yeah, a very small one. But I do think the Phillies are the best shot. And I agree with you on the Angels. We said it in the offseason. We weren't really sure what to make of them and where to put them because they made some improvements. They weren't going to be a doormat anymore. They weren't going to be a joke. But we just weren't sure kind of how far along they really were.
Yeah. And John, this is fair. Is it bad? I have more faith in fourth place teams to make a comeback than second place. Red Sox, Braves, Rangers, Diamondbacks, and Reds. Listen, I don't hate this take at all. I really don't.
I'm with you, John. I like it.
Yeah, because any of these teams can get scorching hot. There's too much talent on these teams. I mean, I love my Diamondbacks. Absolutely love my Diamondbacks. They can hit until the cows come home. These guys can hit, but they're losing games 13-12, 12-11, 16-14.
It's brutal.
I mean, that's going to hurt. You're not going to win if you're losing like that. But they do have talent. They can figure out their pitching. They're there. The Reds are young. Francona will turn them around at some point. I think we might be a year early on the Reds. Rangers, that team, I don't I don't know. That might be the only one I'm like, there's no shot. Talked about the Braves already. They can get hot. They can sustain a hot stretch as well. And the Red Sox could get there if they ever figure it out because they have the talent. It's just whether they can start playing like a team.
Yeah, that's the battle. I mean, I like that take, John. I mean, I see more teams in that group that have a legitimate shot than in this group. And I think part of that is just where we're at in the standings. You've had the Angels that are hot and the Blue Jays that are hot. Probably can't sustain it.
Yeah, Tigers last season. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a great follow up point to that, John.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Welch here, Welch here, same thing with the Phillies. The Phillies were in first place 2 weeks ago. You're absolutely right. Mets are going to hit some tough stretches. Phillies are gonna kind of get back to normal. I think the NL East could be a back and forth for a while.
Yeah, between those two. Yeah, absolutely. But all right. I have some silhouettes for you, Harrison, with no other clues. It's just the MLB player's silhouette. You have to tell me who it is.
I think I'm going to hang back and let chat get in on these because they've been fantastic lately. So
Listen,
I'm not saying I won't guess, but I'm gonna
yeah.
give chat some time.
So before we start, guys, I hope you enjoyed Jeopardy as much as I did last night putting it together. I know I flubbed the final Jeopardy question. I'll be better, but it was a blast. Like everyone was engaged. Everyone was really trying to get it. And it was incredible. I had such a fun time last night. I dressed up, looked like the game show host, everything. It was cool. Did you get a chance to watch some of it, Harrison?
I did. I thought it was spectacular, and I do want to say now that everybody, all the regulars are in the chat. I can't tell you guys how much I appreciate you carrying the load for me while I was gone, keeping Nick company, answering his questions, dealing with his ramblings. Nick did a fantastic job in emergency duty, flying solo, and you guys were fantastic. Carrying some of the load of what I usually do. So I can't thank you guys enough. The podcast I was watching and listening as much as I could, but you guys are great. So I can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys jumping in and helping Nick out.
Yeah, it's pretty cool the community that we have like discovered while this podcast has like kind of morphed into what it has been. You know what I mean? Like we started out, we've said it numerous times, just me, you, and Sean talking baseball. That was it. No interaction from
Nobody
chat.
watching, nobody listening.
Yeah, nobody cares. And then to meet like everybody in the chat that comes back every time we're live, like it really is incredible. And it didn't feel like I was alone, which was the cool part. Like we missed you terribly. Don't get me wrong. I missed you terribly, but it didn't feel like I was alone. And that's a testament to everybody in the chat. Like it was absolutely incredible. Yeah, and here it is. Really good to see you. Yeah.
Yeah, the John's got your back. Yeah.
Listen, I sent a text to Harrison today. I go, we should probably just name this to the John, and John's baseball podcast. And it was all different spellings of John.
Yep.
Not to
amazing.
take away from Chad and Captain and all that, but I mean, it's just crazy. It seems like every new person that pops on is another form of John. It's like, man, oh man. It's crazy.
Apparently, statistically, Johns are more commonly baseball fans.
I guess, but I mean, everybody, Captain, you've been incredible as well, dude. I mean, you've been here every single show, like, and we appreciate it. Everybody was awesome. So
yeah, and I appreciate all the well wishes and the welcome backs, but chat, you guys were huge, doing some heavy lifting while I was gone.
Yeah. So hopefully we won't have another IL stint for either one of us anytime soon. But anyways,
if we do, we know that chat can carry the load.
Exactly. Well, maybe we'll just go live and we just won't show up one time and just let them go ham in the comments.
That would be wild.
Yeah, right. All the Johns would have a different meaning. Anyways, all right.
Yeah.
Name the player by MLB silhouette.
Oh,
Here we go. Whose swing is this? Do you know who this one is, Harrison?
feel like I should.
Remember, the background colors are always a hint. Yes, John Carter. Boom.
It's
And Mr.
funny.
Clam.
I was like, man, that like the hair even like I feel like that's got to be like a Tatis or somebody. But
Yep. Fernando Tatis Jr. So I put the exact picture that I actually blacked out. So yes, Fernando Tatis. Good job, Mr. Clams and John Carter.
That's a good one.
200 points for Gryffindor. All right. Next one. Whose pitching motion is this?
Oh goodness, is that Carter Caps?
No.
No, it's who's the other guy that's got that big lunge forward?
He's current.
Yep.
He may or may not have blown out a knee celebrating.
Oh, Diaz, that's right. He's got that big sweep behind him.
Yep. It is Edwin Diaz. Yep.
I almost said Kimbrel because I'm like,
goodness, John. I was gonna put silhouettes in next week's Jeopardy, but if you're just gonna keep hammering them out like this, maybe not.
I know. That's why I said I'm gonna hang back and let Chad handle these.
Yeah, goodness,
they're killing it.
But I also went easy on these ones. Whose swings are these? So it's one player.
It's really small.
So you got the background color as a clue. And I would say these are all fairly easy compared to, not Devers. That's a good guess.
Yeah, I mean, the finish in the top one looks like Devers for sure. But it looks like this is a switch hitter.
It is a switch hitter. That's why there's two of them. It's one guy.
Yeah, because I'm thinking the same thing as John O'Hara here. Like, it looks like Griffey and McGuire, but it's the same person.
Yep. I mean, we've been talking a lot about him. It is Cal Raleigh, switch hitter.
Duh. That left-handed finish should have totally given it away.
Yep, Cal Raleigh. There it is, right there.
I always forget Cal Raleigh's a switch hitter because he hits. It feels like every home run he hits from the left side.
Yep. Yep, it is Cal Raleigh. All right, next one.
Didn't look like enough dumper.
Oh man! All right, whose pitching motion is this?
Oh man. Are they throwing towards us or away from us? I'm trying to figure out what handed they are.
Yes.
Is that Crochet?
Nope. He's pitching towards us, not Crochet.
Okay.
I mean, who had a ridiculous windup like that? It's not Nomo. That's not a bad guess. It's not.
Oh, is it the D train?
It is the D train. Got it right as Mr. Clams got it. Yes, it is Dontrell Willis for sure. Yeah. All corked up like that. Absolutely insane.
I never understood how he got the ball out of his hand.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. I don't understand.
Just feet and elbows coming at you.
Yeah. All right. Next one. This is really easy, I think. Whose batting stance is this?
Isn't that the captain?
Yeah, it is the captain. That was a very, very easy one for sure.
Yeah. That one I feel like should be an automatic.
Yep. Derek Jeter for sure.
Who might have had kind of the most vanilla balanced batting stance ever.
Yep. But iconic at the same time. Like
100%.
I mean, you just knew it was his.
Yep.
And then whose batting stance is this? This might be the toughest one just because you only really get the top half here.
Yeah.
But once you get it.
If the stance was wide, I'd say it looks a little bit like Edmonds, but I can't see the legs.
Yeah, it's not Edmonds.
Is it a lefty?
It is a lefty.
Okay, just making sure I'm oriented right. Oh, Josh Hamilton's a good guess.
It is Josh Hamilton.
Nice job, John.
It is Josh Hamilton for sure. I am in the process of putting him on my what if list because he's definitely on there.
John Carter. Without seeing the feet, it looks like turkey sterns.
You're right. Holder, yeah, it's Josh Hamilton. Good. A couple people got it. Mr. Clams got it. Nice.
Good one.
But yes. All right. That's all I had for tonight. So is there anything in the chat that you guys want to bring up real quick? It's going to be a nice, quick show here with Leslie got it too. Josh Hamilton. Good. Mr. Clams. Bang. Nice. Nice quick show for Harrison's debut back off the IL. But do you guys have anything pressing going into this weekend or something that happened this week that we haven't touched on? This is your time to shine. Oh, that's sick. You had Ranger season tickets in 10 and 11. Great years. Yeah, those were good years to be Ranger season ticket holders for sure.
Those were wicked good years.
I've been to the new Globe Life Park with my cousin last April. They played the A's. I loved it. There was no offense in that game. They lost to the A's 1-0, but it's still, that ballpark is ridiculous. But yeah. Do you have anything you want to bring up, Harrison, since you've been out for 3 weeks? Anything pressing?
There's all kinds of crazy news I'm sure we could get into, but I did want to mention the irony today of Orlando Arcia getting the walk-off hit for the Rockies. The Braves cut him loose. He ends up with the Rockies because he's got no other option, and gets a nice big walk-off hit for them today. And the Rockies are attempting to show some signs of life.
As long as they get over that 25 win mark, that's brutal. Great night of rounding third and ripping Topps Heritage and Top Series 2-packs. That's sick. Just opening cards and that's awesome.
I guess, and the other thing I guess is worth mentioning too is the news came out, I think it was yesterday, that Jackson Jobe, Tommy John surgery. Dang. Another young guy going under the knife.
That's ridiculous.
That's a crushing blow.
I'm trying to spell this guy's name. He just made the debut with the Brewers today. Jacob Mizorowski. Mizorowski. He pumped, I think it was like 5 pitches at 102.
Oh yeah.
Starting. I just saw that before we popped on. I didn't have a chance to put it in the show, but
and he left the game with leg cramps.
Gracious.
They had to take him out they had to take him out after 5 no-hit innings because he had leg cramps. But he was absolutely just embarrassing batters.
Yeah. This is sick. I got season tickets for Las Vegas Aviators and got to see Shea Langoliers and Tyler Soderstrom. That's pretty cool.
That would be sick.
That's awesome. That's cool. So I bet you can't wait for them to get to Vegas, huh, Leslie? I mean,
absolutely.
That's a good young team, man. I love watching them on the offensive side. When they take the field, I change the channel. Let's be honest. But that offense is going to be good. Listen, we got you. Even with like when we do Jeopardy, if it's close enough, like I take it because autocorrect is not anyone's friend, really. I'm not trying to say duck when I type it into my text messages. I'm just saying. Are the Sox bringing up the password anytime soon? I hope so. I think they're going to keep him down there for a little bit longer because, again, there's a log jam in the outfield.
Is he in AA or AAA?
I think he's with Worcester now.
Okay.
Because I saw him make a ridiculous defensive play the other day. What is it? Justin Sin. What's his last name? And it looks like John Nixon.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember his last name. Why am I blanking on his last name?
I can't remember it either.
Justin Sin Garcia. But you spell Justinson JHOSTYNXON. Justinson. Crazy. I don't know. I mean, he's with Worcester right now, but I there's too much of a logjam in the outfield at this point. So, oh, cool. So you've seen a lot of good players go through that AAA stadium. That's what's so awesome about minor league stadiums. I live, 20 minutes from the Durham Bulls. And I've got to see a lot of guys go through Durham and play against the Bulls. Minor league baseball is incredible. It's so much more intimate than the MLB. And you get to see these guys up close. So it's pretty cool.
I get the benefit of being able to watch Marcelo Meyer and Roman Anthony play in Portland the last couple of years. And I watched Roman Anthony in one game hit 2 balls that completely left the ballpark and landed on the football field behind Hadlock Field. And he quickly became the person everybody was paying attention to.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, everyone's glad to see you back. And no one's more gladder than I am, for sure. But all right. Well, with that, like I said, we're going to keep it nice and short tonight, fellas. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Absolutely incredible, like you are every night. But nice debut out of you, Harrison. Great to have you back. And we are back on track here. We have some pretty cool guests that are starting to line up here. So I actually just got a text. I don't know if you guys saw me on my phone here in a little bit. He was texting me back and forth. But we have a guy that hopefully next Thursday we're trying to work out. He works for a company that provides all the defensive metrics for the MLB. So he's going to send me like his job description and what he does, and we're going to bring him on and interview him. And then also got in the works a minor league baseball player that was in the Nationals organization. So going to have a chance to talk with some baseball folks here coming on the show in the next couple of weeks. So we'll keep you posted. We'll, put the post out on Facebook and all that stuff about the times that we'll have them on. But most likely our regular time, Sundays at 9 and Thursdays at 9. But until then, have a great weekend. Watch your baseball. Go Twins. Go Sox. Go Diamondbacks. Go whoever you cheer for. Go Mariners. I know I didn't see it tonight, John Temple, but go Mariners. And happy early Father's Day to everyone as well. And of course, we'll be on Father's Day night. So have a great Father's Day. And then we'll see you that night to talk some baseball. And until then, we'll see you Sunday night, 9 p.m.